Ladies and gentlemen, this is a new video from my new channel called $1 Gods, spelled with a Z. And what you are looking at is the most complex series of pictographs ever created in the known universe. And I am not talking about a series of pictographs that was created in 1934. I am telling you that in fact this series of pictographs that appears on the reverse of the $1 bill was created at least 7,000 years ago. The entity that created this series of pictographs 7,000 years ago also designed the building of the Great Pyramid. It also is responsible for the birth of the United States of America, and more importantly, it is the same entity that gave Moses the instructions to build the Ark of the Covenant, because in fact the entire green side of the $1 bill is an exact replica of two things. If you use one scale, it is a picture of the Ark of the Covenant. If you use another scale, it is a picture of King Solomon's temple, a three-dimensional construct that needs to be built on a three-dimensional plane, and yet it is an exact replica of King Solomon's temple. But today we are going to discuss only the Ark of the Covenant. These lines that you see here and here are the poles of shittim wood that which you would carry the Ark of the Covenant. The numbers 1 and the word 1 are where the hands would meet to grab the poles to carry the Ark of the Covenant. Excuse me. Upon either end of the Ark of the Covenant are the seraphim, denoted in pink. These are the seraphim with eyes before and behind, eyes before and behind. And in fact, I have shown you this in a different video, but I'll go over it briefly now, that are depicted as gods or angels, and in this case depicted also as the same profile as the Egyptian god Tutankhamun's headdress, with the vulture's headdress at the top of Tutankhamun's headdress, and the playlated false beard of Tutankhamun represented as the pink line that wraps around what I call the evil seed of death. These pictographs are so numerous that it took me 44 years to discern all of the ones I have, and there probably are 1,000 more. I can tell you that these are the poles of shittim wood, and to prove that these are the poles that carried the ark, there are something called 4 ringlets that were attached to the poles of the Ark of the Covenant. These little curly cues that look like leaves, 1, 2, 3, and the fourth one is not colored in for a specific reason. 1, 2, 3, 4 ringlets are the ringlets that hold the Ark of the Covenant. In the central portion of the Ark of the Covenant would have been the Lord God's Shinka or energy. In God we trust one. Well, this is a representation of the Lord God that gave Moses the instructions to build the Ark of the Covenant. These are the seraphim denoted in Exodus 25:19. Place one angel or seraphim upon one end of the Ark of the Covenant, denoted as this white line between the numbers 1 and this white line between the numbers 1, the end of the Ark of the Covenant. Notice how at the end of the Ark of the Covenant, the dais or porch-like structure protrudes off the edge of the Ark of the Covenant, the same way as is always depicted when shown the seraphim on the Ark of the Covenant. Also, please note that this is the mercy seat where the Lord God sat upon while he was being carried through the desert. Now, on the ends of the Ark of the Covenant, the angels appeared to be like a bullock. And if you fold the bill with a 15-degree arc, like so, and move it around like so, you can come to the conclusion that it sure does look like a bullock, or a lamb, or an oxen. And you have to do this in the privacy of your own house, because in order to see it perfectly, it has to be a 15-degree rolling arc, and it has to be just the right light, and I don't have the right light with these fluorescent bulbs. But I can tell you that when you hold the bill at a certain angle, these cherubim that are described in the Bible as seraphim, six-winged angels, can appear to be like a bullock or an oxen. Also, if you will notice, upon the Ark of the Covenant is the Lord God's first commandment. In God we trust, one. The Lord God gave the Israelites, or the wandering Hebrews, as I lovingly call them, 10 commandments, and the first commandment is, thou shalt have no other gods before me. So therefore, this, which is represented as the largest word on the back or reverse of the $1 bill, this word, considering the fact that it is enlarged, it is shouting at you, or it is emphasized that there shall only be one God. And in this case, there is a choice between gods. As the Lord God gives us freedom of choice. The choice is between good and everything that represents life in the God pod, or evil and everything that represents death in the evil seed of death. Some people choose good, and in fact our world is headed down a path of evil because our politicians have become corrupted. The entire political system of this world has been corrupted. The nuclear detonation that I talk about inside the compass of the evil seed of death has become corrupted, and that there is a nuclear detonation occurring in Fukushima right now, proving my point. Ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you 500 reasons why the evil seed of death is a representation of today's world. And I can tell you that the United States of America is being overrun by an evil energy that understands that these pictographs exist and are using these for their benefit, but they are not the creators of the pictographs. They have hijacked the understanding of what occurs on the back and front of the $1 bill and are using it to show you that for some reason the Star of David appears in the God pod. It also appears in the evil seed of death. But they don't represent it in the newspapers because the cabal that has taken over the Americas and the world, the nation, the European Union, they are all in cahoots with one another and utilizing a knowledge that is 7,000 years old to control the mass media and the minds of the people of the planet Earth. And don't get me started with the mass media, because you people watch 3 hours of television a day for 40 years, and at the end of 40 years you have spent 6 years of 8-hour days watching commercials. A completely useless medium as far as I'm concerned. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this has been my dissertation, and I want you to understand that this concept, the book, and the movie rights are for sale, and anybody out there that knows of a contact for a publisher, an editor, or a movie producer that is interested in working with me for the movie rights and publishing my book professionally, I am interested in selling the rights, and I guarantee the finder 10% of the profits. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Michael Fazio from the Florida Keys saying thank you for participating in this video today being 6/17 of 2011.